Hey guys, and thank you for joining me again. This week we had to do our speech about a show and tell speech, and the two items that I chose to show off were these paintings that have been a part of my life since before I can remember, and been a part of my family since before even that. The paintings have initially belonged to my great-grandmother Josie. She was born in 1896 in Harlem. She was the daughter of immigrants. And she was a very smart woman, but she was also very stubborn and flexible, so with the good also came the bad. And the earliest memories that my mother has of these photos are of them hanging in my great-grandmother Josie's apartment. My mother and her family had to move in with my great-grandmother after her husband had died, and this was because my grandmother was the only daughter in the family. So they moved in to take care of my grandmother, or my great-grandmother. And my mom said that they hung out on the walls the whole time that they lived there. Eventually, my great-grandmother, she passed, and the pictures, along with my mother and her family, moved to the Bronx. Now, my mother's family moved about 5 times from different buildings in different parts of the Bronx, and each time the photos went with them. And they even survived an apartment building catching fire, so I'd like to think that they have some pretty good luck attached to them. So my parents moved here moved to Rome when I was about 16 months old. It was just my parents, my brothers and I. And when we would go visit my grandparents in the city, these photos were something that was always expected to see. They were always expected to be on the wall, and it was one thing that I could count on that was just a continuity throughout all of these memories of my grandparents' apartment. Eventually, at the age of about 5, my grandparents moved to Rome, and they got an apartment building in Rome, and these pictures hung in the apartment building for as long as I can remember, and through their death. After my grandparents died, my mother inherited the photos, and they hung in our home, and they hung in a very special spot where everybody could see them. It was very important to my family to have these out. And when I moved out, my mother bequeathed them to me, and they now currently hang in my apartment. Now, the reason why I chose to show these paintings was because family is very important to me. Like I said before, my family moved here when I was 16 months old, and we had no family around here. It was always just my 2 brothers, my parents, and I. And it was very important when we did go to the city, to see my grandparents and to see our family. So growing up with just a limited support system kind of magnifies how important family is in any situation. And whenever I look at these pictures, they remind me of my grandparents. They remind me of great memories that I have with them. My grandparents were older when I was born, so they didn't live, as long as I would like them to have lived. But whenever I look at them, I can still hear my grandmother's voice, I can see their apartment clearly, and I can smell the things that they were cooking. The photos also, I feel, create a link from my great-grandmother Josie to me to this day, and I can always look at them and feel that my grandparents are watching out for me, and it's very important to have them up, and I never miss a chance to show them off to my friends or to tell the story about them and how old they are and how they've been a part of my family for years. The photos, the pictures, I'm hoping will hang in my home until the day that I die, at which time they may be passed on to my kids or my grandkids, and that is something that I dearly hope for, and I hope that the future generations of my family can appreciate these paintings for what they are and what they represent. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. I hope that you enjoy the photos or the pictures as much as I do. They are very beautiful, but they also do represent a very important aspect of my life, which is family, and I hope that you guys can appreciate that. I look forward to listening to your speeches, and I look forward to learning a little bit about you guys. Have a great day.